All right. Well, welcome to the Sports Guys. We have a special edition this week. We always talk about offense. We always sometimes talk about defense in football. Football's our favorite sport. We never talk about special teams. The last time we did was a year ago when we had Jackson on. And today we're going to highlight all the specialists, the kickers, the long snappers, the punters, the wedge guys, everybody on the special teams we're going to really highlight today. So how you doing, Jackson?
I'm great. How are you?
Welcome back, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've been really having a lot of fun following your career and your transition from Kentucky to App. So how's that transition gone since the last year?
It's been smooth. It's been great. App State's a great program. It's such a family here, and it's just they welcome me in with open arms. So it's been super great.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Good to hear. We're looking forward to coming to the 8/29 game. So here in Charlotte, so we're looking forward to that and seeing you in action.
Yes, sir.
It's
Tell
gonna be
me
a
a
lot of
little
fun.
bit about how it was coming in under Michael as the senior kicker, as the veteran, and
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
having him as a mentor.
It was great. I mean, Michael, he's got tons of experience. High pressure situations, low pressure situations, everything. And especially, when he had his unfortunate injury and it was my turn to step up, that was when he really stepped in and was a great mentor to me, on and off the field. He told me one thing and it really stuck with me, and that's he's like, "Bud, this is your time that you're really gonna have to grow up." And that was super true. I mean, I had to grow up mentally, physically, on and off the field. Going from not playing in a game in over a year and a half from high school to playing into a college football game was super stressful. So he was nothing but helpful. Him, John Stone, Gabe, Connor, all the boys, they were nothing but supportive and helpful, and couldn't ask for a better group.
That's awesome. Well, let's go to Michael. Michael, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We're really glad you're here. And I know that you were the kicker that Jackson took over from in the App State program. How long were you in the program?
I was there for 4 years, from 2021 to 2024.
Okay. And you came from West Virginia.
I did, Charleston.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your career. Kind of wrap it up for us. What was it like? I know you probably had to wait your time too.
Yeah, came in 2021 and sat behind 6-year veteran Chandler Staten for a season.
Mm-hmm.
He holds the all-time points record at App
Mm-hmm.
State. So having him as a mentor was great for me because it allowed me to really see what it takes to kick field goals at a high level. I came in and I started on kickoffs my freshman year. So I didn't redshirt. Sophomore year, I took over both duties. Did a decent job. I went 9 for 12 that season. And then, that's when the experience really kicks in. And junior year was great. Junior year, I was 19 to 22, long of 54. It was a great year. This was the year that me and my holder, Connor, Jackson, we touched on that. He touched on that earlier. We got really close, and so did I and Johnstone. So it was just easy for me to trust those guys and just go out and just swing freely. And then senior year, I played 4 games, fractured my tibia, had to sit out 6 weeks, and then finished the season off in the last 2 games.
How'd you fracture your tibia? Did you do a kick or was it a strain?
No, we had got out of walkthrough on a Thursday, and the hurricane that hit Tampa came up and hit Boone, North Carolina, and there was 4 to 5 inches of rain that was dumped within like 45 minutes. And I was in the parking lot and jumped over a stream of water that, I just jumped over the stream of water and landed into mud and rotated my ankle wrong and just fractured my tibia. So, that's something that I told Jackson is like, you can't, and it really applied to on the field, is you can't be upset with things that you can't control.
Right.
And that was something that I told him that following week is like, look, man, I can sit here and I can be frustrated and I can be mad and pissed off or whatever. But at the same time, I understand that I can't be mad at something that I can't control. And it was just one of those things. So at the end of the day, I had to sit 6 weeks. And after that, I came back, played in the last 2 games, and moved on from college.
Well, I really like your attitude about that. You're really a good example for everybody that you handle that really maturely. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
listen,
it's been really good for Jackson to have Michael. I mean, Michael is a go-getter. He's probably the only kicker I know that just gets out on the field and gets it done.
yeah,
And you know, I don't know at what point his mental capacity matured, but he really has coached the whole specialist group about that, because it's 90% mental. All these young men, I call them kids, but they all have the talent level to do it. It's
yeah,
how do you figure it out when something goes wrong? Like with Michael, I talked to him the other night, and there was, you know, a plane issue in Atlanta. He was going to Edmonton for the CFL, and you know, it just didn't seem to. I mean, yeah, it bothered him, but there's nothing he could do about it. It was out of his control, you know.
right.
So I think that resonates real well with me. It's like, okay, control what we can control, and that's what you do. So
Yeah, it's
hats off to
interesting.
you, Michael, for that. That's
Well,
really
I appreciate that. I can get more into that mental stuff later on, but
we're going to. I want to get into mental versus
yeah.
kind of muscle memory. You know, I want to ask you and Jackson about that. Let's go over to Gabe Simpkins. How you doing, Gabe?
Doing well. How you doing?
So you're one of the underappreciated positions on the specialist, the long snapper. And without the long snap, of course, you're not going to get a good hold. You're not going to get a good punt. So tell us about your kind of journey through football and your journey to App State.
Yeah, for sure. So started playing ball in middle school. Started at a small private school. My parents and I decided to put me in public school going into my 8th grade year. And that's where I kind of started to grow the love of football. And then my freshman year, went to a school in Raleigh, Lees Road High School. In 2019, we had a new head coach, but we went to the state championship, but unfortunately lost. And I kind of knew going into my sophomore year, it was just going to be, you know, what did I want to play and what was my identity in. And so I was able to play varsity my freshman through senior year. But it really, you know, it started when I got to my junior year, where I was like, man, like I want to stand out to these coaches, man, because so many kids go play college ball on any level, D1 to JUCO. So I picked up long snapping. You know, it was kind of difficult because I picked it up really late. I got, you know, ranked at the end of my junior year. And my senior year is where I kind of took off and started going to camps. You know, I won a Rubio camp. You know, I got my rankings. Unfortunately, I didn't get the offers that I wanted to get, so I committed to a small D2 school in Lumberton, North Carolina, UNC Pembroke.
Yep, I know it.
Yep, started there as a true freshman, played in all 10 games, went 7-3 that year under a new head coach. And I'm gonna be honest, man, like that just was not the place for me. Being there
There's
for
nothing to do, right? Like
yeah,
there's literally nothing to do.
there's just nothing to do there, man.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to stare and look at a cornfield all day, man. And you know, it just wasn't a right fit for me. So you know, I took a bet on myself. Hit the portal 2 days after the season ended at UNCP, and then the old special teams coach hit me up in December, and I committed on Christmas Day.
That's awesome.
You know, overall, I think it's been good at App to have, you know, Michael and Connor and Johnstone specifically, man. He's been a huge help to me and just my career. And I just spoke to him actually today, just with some stuff that I've got going on. And he's like, hey, you know, you got to do this and this. So it's just, you know, having those older guys with, you know, games under their belt and years of experience to kind of help a young guy, you know, just come in and compete for the job. So, but yeah, it's been good.
You know, I played a little tight end in my day, and I always used to look over at the long snapper guy, and I always was a little jealous of him because whenever I tried it, like I would try to practice it, I'd always ground it, or I'd throw it over the punter's head, or I could never get it. So I always kind of like looked at the long snapper like with some jealousy.
And it's been good though. You can ask Jackson because he thinks he's a backup long snapper right now, but he knows.
He's pretty good.
Hey, we know who the true backup was last year.
Who was that?
Maynard.
Was it? Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Michael's laughing, but yeah, Michael, you're trolling. Chill.
I'm trolling.
So my question about long snapper: do you get to look up before you get hit? Like you snap?
Yeah.
Like, are they on you so quick, or can you look up?
So with field goals, they can't touch you.
Okay.
But with punt, what they have to do is, you know, when I let go of the ball, they're allowed to hit me when my head comes up. And, with our new scheme now is we're having to snap and block. So, man, when I snap that ball, I got to pick my head up fast because they're already coming.
Because you could have hurt your neck pretty bad, right?
Man, they can mess me up. There's some big dudes I have to go against, man.
Because I look at Jason Kelsey, what he does with like the tush push, and he dives straight down, like almost chips him down like that. I don't know how his neck survives that.
I mean, that's why I'm a specialist. That's why I love being a specialist, man. They don't really,
Like I don't want to be Jason Kelsey. Yeah.
No, I want to have a good body coming out of college. So
yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's an interesting dynamic that these and I'm sure Michael had it with previous specialists. Jackson had it at Kentucky. Gabe had it at Pembroke before they got here. But let me tell you, and they still talk, even though John Stone's not on here. He was the previous long snapper. Connor was the holder and the punter, and Michael was the kicker and kickoff guy. I mean, they still talk, and I would say probably more than once a week, maybe even daily, but they just have such a strong relationship because every one of those positions, obviously the kicker gets blamed, but Gabe's got to get it back. It's got to be held by the holder, whoever the holder is, and then the kicker's got to kick, and this happens seconds.
But are you guys tight with the gunners and the wedge busters and those guys too, or because they're part of the specialty group, right?
I mean,
I was super close with the kickoff team, but I never really had hands on the punt team.
Punt team, okay. What about you, Jackson?
Nah, the punt team, yeah, for sure. We were all close, and even the field goal unit with all the linemen, man, I got to get close to those linemen because at the end of the day, like, they're protecting me and they're protecting the kicker too. So it's like, most guys don't like to do it because it's just you just got to buckle down and just take it. But at the end of the day, they're doing.
I kind of want to touch on that. So going into my junior year, I made it a field goal unit rule that after every kick, whether I made it or I missed it, they turned around and we had to either hug or we had to smack hands. And I know it was tough. I know because those linemen, they're out there for 14, 15, 16 play drives. And the last thing that they want to do is take that extra second, turn around and wait, and then get off the field. They want to go over and sit down, man, get some water. Yeah. But I made it a rule because that's just part of the team chemistry and the team bond. And honestly, not only did I do it for them because I loved all of them, I did it for myself because the better that they are at their job, the better that I'm going to be at mine. And you just piggyback off of each other. If they want to be great, then it allows you to be great. So that was kind of my mindset on that is you spend so much time with each other, we might as well make that extra effort into putting that in. Mm-hmm. So there's I have probably over 100 pictures on my phone of after field goal reps during games where Griffin Scroggs or Thornton Gentry or any of them, Big Thor, or Markel Samuel, they're all turning around and, we have our arms wide open and we're about to hug because that was just our ritual.
So they're the happiest guys for you, because they're the ones who practice it with you all the time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So Jackson, what about those gunner guys, those wedge buster guys? They're more like cornerbacks, right? Are you tight with them?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've always said, transferring from Kentucky to here is it's just for me so much more of a family here at App, and so I mean, everybody's bonded with everybody. I feel and especially now. Okay. We all, Coach Loggins, our new head coach, he likes all of us to sit in the locker room, mix up, white guy next to black guy, wide receiver next to kicker, whatever it may be. So, we've become close with all the boys, all the guys. I mean, last year, our star players would, ask the specialists to go out and do something or go golf or go out to eat or whatever. So I feel everybody on the team is pretty close with one another. So on the field it translates. We don't really have to get close because everybody already is close.
So does the quarterback come over to you, Jackson, right before a big kick and slap you on the butt and, hey, go get it, or do they leave you alone? Do they know your routine? Do they know your preparation?
I mean, they've seen me do it a million times, so they kind of just let me do my thing. I mean, they'll, at halftime or whatever, be great kick or whatever. I remember during the Georgia State game, I put us up right before halftime, and Joey came up to me in the locker room and was hey, great kick, all that stuff. But I mean, to be honest, they have so much on their plates on game days and so much to worry about
Right.
with, all the plays, all the reads they have to make. They kind of just do their own thing. But I mean, they always make an effort to, congratulate us and say good job or, give us a word of encouragement. I remember Caden Robinson. I had missed a field goal early in a game, and Caden Robinson came over to me and one of the star wide receivers, or if not our star wide receiver last year, um, and gave me like a little pep talk and was like, "Bro, you're good. Like I've seen you do this a million times. Like do not worry about it. All that stuff." And seeing guys like that, just
That's
come over
good.
to me and say a little words of encouragement or say good job or whatever, it means a lot. But
That's
yeah,
great. So Jackson, some people might not have seen your last episode on this channel. So give everybody a little background about how you came to football. You were playing soccer at the time. Just a little bit of background behind your kind of high school career.
yes, sir. So I played soccer my whole entire life. I never really thought I'd play football, and then I was kind of messing around, and somehow a football coach saw me, and that's how I started playing football. But I always thought I would go to college or something for soccer. I was playing on the U.S. national team and playing for Sporting KC, the MLS team, at a young age, and so that's what I thought I'd always do. And then I started football, ended up loving it. Started in seventh grade, played seventh grade and eighth grade. Didn't really take it. I mean, I took it seriously, but I never really thought anything would arise out of it. I was kind of just doing it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then freshman and sophomore year came around. I realized my potential and realized, man, I could actually do something with this. So I started getting really good, starting going to ranking camps, getting coached, all this stuff. And then senior year rolled around. I didn't get any offers until after my senior year, after my senior season, just because, I mean, specialists are always recruited late in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I'd gotten all the military schools, got, some other offers that I was happy with, all this stuff. And then Kentucky called. I got offered by Kentucky, and then 3 days later ended up committing there. Felt like that was the right place. Spent a year there, and it was a great place. I loved it there. Love Lexington. Love Kentucky. So have lifelong friends that still go there. So love that place. But I felt like for my career it was best if I leave there for now, and so that's how I came to App State.
That's great. That's really great. What about you, Michael? How'd you get to kicking?
Kind of the same route as Jackson. I just didn't play for the U.S. national team. Um, Grew up playing soccer, did travel soccer, made regionals a lot growing up, year after year on my travel team. My middle school football coach and my dad were like best friends growing up. So I was on the middle school soccer team, but they didn't have a kicker that year in my eighth grade season. And they offered, me to do both. And I chose to do both. So I went out to a practice, kicked a few balls, enjoyed it, finished that season. And then my family moved from a small town in West Virginia, Sissonville, to
Mm-hmm.
Charleston. We moved to Charleston, where I attended George Washington High School. And then I did basketball, soccer, and football my freshman year. And then going into my sophomore year, I decided to stop playing football or stop playing basketball and soccer and really focus on football. And
Mm-hmm.
saw my kicking coach, me and Jackson, we have the same specialist coach. Gabe's been seen him a few times in Buffalo,
Mm-hmm.
New York. Met him my sophomore year, and that's kind of when it took off for me.
That's great.
Kind of put my head down and just stayed at it for the next 3 years. And I had 4 scholarships and 1 walk-on coming out of college or coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go out of West Virginia for school. That was one of my goals, was to go out, see a different part of the world, meet new people, kind of get out of my comfort zone. So
Did you think about West Virginia or Marshall, one of those schools? Did you look
I
at them?
did both. I did. Both of them offered me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I thought it was either going to be Old Dominion or Marshall,
Mm-hmm.
because Apple really wasn't in the equation. And then I reached out to Coach Haynes and just kind of told him like, "Hey, man, look, I'd really love to be a part of your program. I know that we've spoke on the phone before. I don't know if you guys are offering a scholarship, that kind of deal. Turns out 2 weeks later, I sent him some film over, and he pulled the trigger on me, and I committed on the spot. It was him, Coach Clark, and Haynes on a Zoom call or a FaceTime call, and I did a FaceTime with him and committed on the spot as soon as they offered me.
Yeah.
So
What an awesome story.
it was by far the best 4 years and the best decision I could have made. Just for me personally, being able to get out of my comfort zone, but also feel like it was home again. So
Right.
yeah, I'll forever be grateful for that.
So Jackson, you and Michael, you guys still soccer fans? I mean, you're going to be watching this club
Nah,
coming up in 2 weeks, or not really? No,
Nah, not really. I'm kind of shocked at that.
not really. I got burnt out, man. That's why I quit.
you don't even watch the World Cup or anything?
Oh,
I
I'll
watched
watch.
the World Cup.
Yeah. No, I'll watch the World Cup, but
Okay.
an MLS game, nah.
Because the Club World Cup's coming up in 2 weeks here in the U.S. You got, Messi's representing the U.S. team, and I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna call Brad and see if him, Jackson, the whole fam wanted to fly out, maybe go to LA, see a game or something.
Heck yeah.
Hey,
Why
I
not?
mean, Michael, I'm always in for a trip like that, bud. I mean,
Brad's in. Brad's in.
it is, Tom. I mean, I got to know Michael's parents, and we know Gabe's family very well, and Johnstone's family, and all three of them were at Johnstone and Shelby's wedding. It has always amazed me. And you're talking about that transition of getting burned out, when Jackson came out of Sporting KC and came back to Charlotte. Yeah, got caught up in some politics of the club there. And basically he said, nah, I'm done with it. And, football, he just gravitated towards the camaraderie, he was a goalkeeper. And as a goalkeeper, he said, Dad, I just kind of sit back there and I'm kind of disconnected from the other players. But I said, man, you just, two clutch positions, a goalkeeper and a kicker, you get one shot to save it and one shot to put it between the uprights. So
very true.
Pressure positions, but so it's been nice to see that dynamic of how these specialists evolve. Even when you talk to Gabe, and he didn't think about snapping a ball, and now he's snapping it at one level, which is the ultimate goal of any young man. So
speaking of that, Gabe, are you set up to take reps at other positions? Like, what if they need you to fill in at guard, or are you set up to do that, or no?
Whoa! How big do you think I am?
Well, I don't know. I'm just asking because, they might have a couple injuries and all of a sudden they're pretty thin.
Nah, so, right now, like as of right now, we have a, depth in all of our position groups. And I'm just going to be totally honest with you. Like, I'm just so unathletic. Like, the only thing I can really do now is just snap a ball. And now in college football, they bring guys in to do one thing. You barely see a guy playing both sides of the ball in college, but as of right now,
which is why you're a specialist, right?
Yeah, exactly. So as of right now, I'm a long snapper, and that's what I'm going to focus on. But as of right now,
I like to refer to Gabe as an upside down quarterback.
Okay, I like that. Puts a spiral on it,
I can't tell you how much money, but I know that JJ with Jansen with the Panthers, I mean, that's all he does. He snaps the ball and gets paid millions of dollars to do it.
He just signed for his 22nd season, so you can make a really long career.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about being a specialist is the term that you can play is much longer than some of these other positions because they're just not getting pummeled and hit in the head and everything as much.
Right. So, Gabe, does upside down quarterback offend you, or does that sound pretty good to you?
No, I like that Michael calls me that. It feels good. But it's true though. I'm looking underneath, man. You got to throw it back there. I'm spinning the rock.
He's got to put a dime ball back there right on the spot, just like
he's upside down quarterback. I never heard.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah,
because if I don't, Michael's going to grab my face mask and is going to get mad at me. So, Jackson too.
All right, so I'm gonna ask the kicker question. I'm gonna ask Jackson first. Is it more muscle memory or is it more mental?
Mm.
Just making the kick every time.
I'd
There's
say
all
Is it
it's
weighted
pretty
towards
50-50
accuracy
between
or
those
muscle?
two. I
Is
mean,
it 50?
that's all kicking is muscle memory and mental. I mean, if you're at the college level, you can do it physically. If you're a D1 kicker, you can physically kick a ball through uprights, and you can physically play D1 football. It's can
Mhm.
you handle it and do it mentally? And Michael's pretty solid in that aspect. I'm still growing in that aspect. Michael will tell you it himself, but you know, we do so many reps, and I've kicked the ball so many times, and that's the goal. Is just like in a game, it just feel like practice, and um, obviously I never experienced that. And when I started playing, Michael was like, "It's just gonna feel like you're kicking in practice." And I came off for my first field goal. He's like, "I told you it feels like practice." Right? I was like, "No," but like
Well, no, it didn't feel like that.
after I got used to it, it did just feel like practice. Because I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure I blacked out like my first couple kicks. Like I have no idea what happened like the first couple times at the end of the game.
Because
Like I don't.
we've had Jeff Reed on this channel a couple times, and he's told us that's what separates the good ones from the mediocre ones. It's all upstairs, right? I mean, it's all up here.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
And,
How
and he just
Yeah.
even in the Super Bowl, he just blocked out everybody. He didn't even hear the crowd,
and
and he
it's
just
crazy.
focused
Like
on that.
you go out there to kick and you don't hear anybody. Like it's the weirdest feeling. Like you're on the sideline, you hear like what 50, 60,000 people screaming and yelling, and then all of a sudden it's like an out of body experience. Like you get out there and it's like all you hear is like yourself breathing. Like it's really
Yeah.
weird. Like you don't see anybody else, you don't see like hear anything else, and you just like kind of focus in.
Does
And
it
it
all
really
slow
does.
down? Does it all
It
slow
does.
down like in slow motion? Yeah.
I mean, to be like literally, I remember running off the field and running off the field. Everything else in between, I just don't remember, like ever.
Wow.
I'm like, I swear I
That's
closed my
amazing.
eyes, but you know, we've done it so many times that that's how it is. And
Mhm.
mentally, can you handle the pressure? Mentally, can you handle missing and not make one turn into two?
Mhm.
So I'd say it's pretty 50-50 between those both.
So, Michael, what do you think? Where is it weighted? Muscle
Yeah,
memory
I think
versus
I think
mental?
Michael really has a good hold on this, and he has been a good mentor to Jackson with this because
Mhm.
I'm of the 90-10 mentality that it's 90% mental because Jackson's right. At this level, they can kick it between the uprights.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Michael, what do you think?
I have to agree with him when it comes to the college aspect, but now that I've seen the NFL aspect, it's completely different. Um, when you sit back in college and you grow from freshman to senior year, you really try to grasp those mental moments.
Yeah.
And I told you I'd touch on it. So like my sophomore year, for example, I missed a game winner in our last game of the season, rival Georgia Southern 2022. We're at their place. And I pulled a 29-yard field goal to win the game. And I had already hit 4 field goals in that game. But nobody remembers those 4 kicks. They remember the last one. And so, that's what I tried to tell Jackson that going into this year after I got hurt is like, man, you really have to take it one rep at a time because, in that moment, it was a great learning lesson. And, I'll forever be thankful for that, for missing that kick. As crappy as that sounds, for all my teammates that year and the coaching staff and the whole program and all the work that we put in, for me personally, it made me grow exponentially. It made me
Yeah.
grow more than any kick that I've ever made. Because now you flip a switch in your brain of like, okay, now I really have to do this. Like, and I
Mhm.
don't ever want to feel like that again. So, after that year, I started seeing our team psychologist, Dr. Jacob Cooper. He is phenomenal. It's not even close. He changed my life, on and off the field. Just being able to let things go that you can't control, like I said earlier,
Mhm.
and also being able to be where your feet are. Because ultimately, if you're not where your feet are, if you're in the present, or if you're not in the present, if you're in the past or the future,
Mhm.
you can't focus on what you have right in front of you. Um, so like going into college, I would say it is more 60-40. or 50-50. I would say that it's closer because if you have the leg strength, you can go out there and you can blast the ball and, you have the technique down. So I'd say 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 times you're going to make your kicks. But being able to get into that 85, 90, 95, 100%, that's where that mental comes in. Is how often can you do it and then be able to erase it even though you made it? Or how often can you do it when you miss?
So you're just coming off Browns camp.
Yeah.
How is it different? And is it more mental in the NFL?
Absolutely. Everything is mental in the NFL.
Why is that? Because you're being hazed, or is it just because it's more pressure?
No. You just have to think like, they say less than 1% of high school athletes go to college. Well, it's like less than 0.5% go and play in the NFL. Especially in our position, the Jacksons and I, or Gabe's and I, like all three of us right here on this call, our positions are completely different. There's 4 quarterbacks on a roster. There's 10 receivers. There's 10 linemen. Well, there's only 1 kicker. There's only 1 long snapper. There's only 1 punter. Some teams, they don't even carry a practice squad guy. So there's 32 teams in the NFL, but honestly, there's probably 60 to 65 guys that can do it. And so, you're really just trying to get your foot in the door. But everybody can go out there and make 55, 60, 65-yard field goals. Every single one of us. It's how many times can I do it and not let a miss affect me? Or how many times can I make this kick? And even though I made it, I have to forget about it and wipe my brain clean and then go do it again. So something that really stuck with me over the years at App was Coach Matt, our strength coach, who came in my junior year in 23. After every rep that I hit, didn't matter if it was made or missed, didn't matter if it was a kickoff, an extra point, or a field goal. He would always come up to me after I made the kick or I missed the kick or whatever it was, and he'd say, "You're only as good as your next one." And it's the truth, because the last one doesn't matter. The next one does. So I've stuck with that. When I was at the Browns, we kicked 13 kicks on Friday and we kicked 12 kicks on Sunday. And every single time I'd hit a ball, that's what I would tell myself after the rep, is I'm only as good as my next kick. And then I'd go over there, take a few deep breaths, and then it'd be my turn to go back on and hit the next ball. And yeah, you just have to take it 1 rep at a time. So I would say in college, it's probably 60-40, mentally 60, ability 40. But in the NFL, it's 90-95 mental, because you've already done all the work. It's just being able to apply it.
That makes sense. So Gabe, is it also the same way with long snapping? Is it a lot mental, and it's just you've done it so many times that it's kind of automatic?
I mean, just going off of what Jackson and Michael said, I mean, it's really just a mental game that you're playing with yourself, because, I mean, you do it so much over and over and over again that it just starts to get – it's just so easy that at, this level now you're just trying to hone in on the smaller things, the smaller details of, how to, get the ball laces back every single time, or on a punt, which hip do I want to throw it to for which punter. We have a left-footed punter and a right-footed punter. So now when I'm snapping to those guys, do I have to angle my feet a certain way to throw it to, the left-footed punter or the right-footed punter? So at this point, I agree with them. It's a lot of, physically anybody can throw a football between their legs, but it's just how good can you be at doing that? So
if a hold gets messed up, does the holder blame you and you blame the holder, or do you guys, are you constructive and you try to work on it? Say next time we won't do that. You know what I mean? Like because it could be a big kick and all of a sudden the ball gets dropped, and then Michael or Jackson coming up and there's no ball to kick.
And at the end, of the day, Jackson and I actually talked about this. What was it, Jackson? Last week. Yeah, and so it was our other holder, and if I mess up, we all mess up. If the holder messes up, we all mess up. If Jackson misses the kick, then everybody messes up. So we got to play as a unit and not individual ball, because at the end of the day, like, we're all one. And if during spring ball, Jackson missed a kick or I had a bad snap, we just dab each other up and be like, next kick, next snap. Like we just can't really harp on those types of things because coaches are paying attention to, all the details that we do, body language, how we speak to teammates, just all those types of things. So it's, it's having respect for one another and just playing as one and not just individual ball.
I'm really glad you said that because if you guys are a solid unit, you'll be more and more successful. There's no question.
Gabe,
Jackson, I think Jackson, you were trying to say something.
I think all you guys could probably touch on this about holding each other accountable, which kind of sometimes is a little bit challenging being friends the way you are, but the way everybody is. But I think that's something that the specialists do. So I'll let you guys kind of talk about what you guys do to hold each other accountable and how that works.
Is there kind of a code, Jackson? Kind of.
I mean, touching on the friends thing, like I think being so close to friends, it's easier to hold each other accountable because Gabe will tell me straight up, like, dang man, like I know you're better than that. Or like I'll tell Gabe, like, man, like you're better than that. Like that was not a great snap. Like, go get the next one. And I feel like that's part of like friendship, not only like on the field, but also off the field. Like,
Right.
I'm close with Michael, Gabe, all those boys, and like, they'll be straight up with me about football and like life advice. Like you
Gotcha.
want like true friends are gonna like really tell you straight up like how it is, and like, they're gonna shoot you straight. They're not gonna, beat around the bush. So
Right.
I think it's honestly easier that we're this close to hold each other accountable because we're able to have those hard conversations and we're able to, say those things and it be completely okay.
So do you guys try to practice some of the other positions in practice just so you know what it's like? Like Jackson, have you ever tried to snap it, or Gabe, have you ever tried to kick a 25-yarder, or Michael, have you ever tried to hold it, Michael?
On that, when I was at UNCP, I crushed a 55-yard field goal, but they don't believe me. So
You did?
Because
that
we
is
put
the
him
most.
indoor.
55-yarder? Wow.
55
He's lying. He's lying.
If I call
He
my
banged it.
kicker and I ask him, he's gonna be like, "Yeah, you crushed it."
Bro lined up for a 30-yarder in the indoor and shanked, like probably hit the doors, the outside.
But I wasn't warmed up though. I wasn't warmed.
Tom, I know that we just met this evening, but you got to trust me when I say that is complete fabrication of a lie, man.
No, you're
It's
tripping,
just
Mike.
not.
You're tripping.
It's just
great,
not
man.
even. It's just not even
That's great.
remotely close to the truth.
Mike, bro,
That's
you're still
great.
doing this, and man, don't do this, Mike.
So, guys, we're joined by the other sports star. How you doing, Robbie?
Hey, doing great.
He was a little delayed getting here tonight, but you got 3 App State specialists here, and we're going through a really good conversation. So they were just joking. They don't believe Gabe has hit a 55-yarder in practice without their knowledge.
No,
So
there's no shot. I've seen
Maybe he hit it real
Absolutely.
well that day.
You know what, Jackson? If I see you tonight after this call, I'm gonna call him, and we're gonna get on that call, and I'm gonna send an email.
There had
Call.
He may even say he hit a 300-yard drive the other day on Monday when we
Yeah,
played
right.
golf together. He did crush one drive.
There
Yeah,
had
you
to-
know
there-
that I crushed that ball.
All right, look, if he made the 55-yard field goal, there had to have been a freakish tornado coming through UNC Pembroke.
that's
Dude,
right.
nothing comes through like, no. It's straight heat, no wind. It was just straight leg power, dude. It was. I'm telling you,
All right, man. Yeah,
All right.
sure.
Well, so before we go to the material, guys, last question to you, Michael. Tell us a little bit more about Cleveland camp and what that was like, and how the NFL maybe surprised you. What the whole experience was like.
Man, I was only there for a weekend, so you really only see surface level stuff. But it was a good experience overall because not only do you grow up dreaming of going and being able to participate with an organization like that, and also being from West Virginia, Cleveland being so close, you grow up watching the Browns and the Steelers and the Ravens and all of those Northeastern teams because that's your region. So being able to be around all of those guys for a full weekend and seeing guys that you never really thought that you would even have the opportunity to meet.
Did you see Shador Sanders there? Did you see Dylan Gabriel? Those guys?
I did. I had lunch with both of those guys on separate days. They're great guys. They're super down to earth, both of them. Um, like I said, I mean, it was just a great experience. It's a whole nother level. It's basically college on complete steroids. It's hard to put into words the work
Like,
that you don't see.
like when you walk into the facilities, are they just like the next level above a college facility? I mean, I have to think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, everything that you can possibly think of, from nutrition to weight room to sports performance to locker room, meeting rooms. I mean, whole nine
Mhm.
yards. It's just completely different.
Mhm. That makes sense. So then you had a brief visit to the CFL, is that correct?
Well, unfortunately, that didn't really work out. So
Okay.
I did get invited up to Edmonton, Canada, to participate with the Elks, and I flew down to Atlanta, and there was a tornado over Nashville, so they had to emergency ground the plane that was coming in to take us to Alberta, Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't make it to Canada. The next flight was the next day at like 9:30 ish. So I wasn't able to go up there and participate. So I had to come home. But
Got it.
yeah, it was a tryout. I had to go up there and prove my ability, just like anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, ready and planned to do that, and just didn't work out. So, take it
Mm-hmm.
with a grain of salt, and God's got a plan for everybody. No need to stress over it.
Well,
What is
a lot of these,
what is a tryout like? Yeah, let's say at Cleveland. I mean, what does that tryout look like from a kicker's perspective or a specialist perspective?
Oh, well, on like a regular trial. So let's just take the one that I did in Cleveland. Like you said, like, you go in there and it's you and the guy that they either have signed. So the Browns did have a signed guy. So we basically went ball for ball on Friday and Sunday. Um, and he was already signed, so I really had to go in and just go above and beyond to beat a guy out that's already a part of the organization. Um, did I do a very, very good job? Absolutely. Sometimes things just don't work out your way. It's a lot of business now. You're working with numbers and money, and the general manager just may not want to make a decision, or he may not want to make a change. And that's part of this business, and it is what it is. So you have to take it and move on, take the experience, learn from it, love it, and just keep your head going in the right direction. So, you know, the Browns was a good experience because not only was I able to go in and compete against a guy who's been on the circuit for a few years, and Andre Schmidt, but he was solid. He was a good kicker. He won the
Mhm.
Lou Groza in college, had a great career at Syracuse, and then he goes on and he's with the Bears for a little, then he crushes it in the UFL for a season, and now he's with the Browns. Unfortunately, I think he got let go this last week, but that's part of the business. You're working against numbers now. If a receiver gets hurt, or if a running back gets hurt, or a lineman gets hurt, the backup kicker, the guy on the practice squad, he's usually the first to go.
Mhm.
So, not only is it about getting your foot in the door, but it's about staying in the door.
So here's what I think the plan is. We're going to get Michael on the Raiders because they're a terrible franchise. I need your kicking. And then we can all visit you in Vegas. Then we're going to get Jackson on the Panthers so we can see him play all the time. And Gabe is going to take over for their current long snappers in his 22nd season. So
There you
got
go.
it all figured out.
Dang.
There you go. But
Michael,
that's not even the Browns. That's not even really a rough weekend. That's not really, it's high pressure,
Yeah.
but the stakes are much different when you get into season and you have a veteran who, like Harrison Butker, for example, if he rolls his ankle, or, everybody knows Matthew Wright, because Matt Wright, he's filled in for guys for the last, 5-6 years, and he's made
Yeah.
a lot of money just by filling in for guys during the season when they go down with an injury, or food illness, or whatever it is. So those workouts is where the pressure really gets gathered, because now you have the entire front office, the entire coaching staff. And, they bring in on a Tuesday, they bring in 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 guys. And it's so quiet out there on a grass field that you can hear a pin drop because everybody wants that job. So
Right.
everybody has to bring their best stuff on a Tuesday workout so that team will be like, all right, this is our guy for this week. So then, you practice Wednesday with the team, you practice Thursday with the team, Friday's your travel day, Saturday you have the walkthrough, and then Sunday you're playing.
Wow.
And it's interesting because Jeff even said, back in his day of playing that it was, when they brought somebody in to work him out, he was like, it was just fighting for his job every week,
Absolutely.
And, Michael, what do you think about this kind of synergistic approach that I kind of see that's happening in Division I football? It's becoming very NFL like with the portal and all
Absolutely.
the NIL money that's
I
going
will.
on.
Here's what I will say about that. I don't have an issue with it because I believe that there should be compensation. We put in the hours, we put in the work. I mean, we are there double the time that we should be there at 18 to 22 years old. I mean, you're giving up your life for a dream. And I understand that part. I really do. But you're putting in the work for it. So I understand the compensation on that part. Now, do I think that you should be able to just pick it up and go somewhere else and make 4 million in spring and then say, oh no, see ya? No, I don't. I think that there should maybe be a clause. Now, am I the best person to ask that? Probably not.
Do you think we should move to like a 2-year contract maybe so that
I don't know. I don't know if it's so much. I don't know if it's so much as like a contract and a 2-year span. I think that maybe like you throw on like a stipulation. So like, let's say like I'm at App State, my junior year. I have a great year, and I get offered $500,000
to go to Georgia, let's say.
Let's just say, yeah, exactly. Let's just say Georgia. All right. Well, what if I was making 20K at App during my junior year? Okay. Now I've completed that season. So I understand that maybe, okay, I've completed the season. So now it may be logically okay for me to pick it up and go somewhere else because I've done my job for that team. But like, let's say I transfer that spring to Georgia for $500,000 and, for 6 months in the spring, I'm getting paid and I'm on like a monthly check. So let's just say it's 10 grand a month or 25 grand a month. If I'm getting 25 grand a month for 6 months, well, at the end of that 6 months, they have me as a third stringer because truthfully, I didn't come in and do my job. So now my feelings are hurt and I've been promised a job, but I didn't really earn that job. So I want to transfer again. I think there should be a stipulation in there that maybe I should, I understand that the college is taking a risk.
Yeah.
But maybe I have to pay a percentage of that money back to the school.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe if I'm going to transfer, maybe I can't play in the out of conference games at this new school.
Yeah, because Kirby Smart said he's having to pay his backup cornerbacks $20,000 a month just to make sure they don't go into the portal. Like it's to the point now where you got backup guys making that kind of money. So,
but then here's the other side of it. Now this is where I'm favorable because now you look at where the position that I'm in, and if I get picked up in the next 6 months and I go somewhere and I'm playing, and then they want to trade me. Or, I get cut, but I have really good film and, a team waives me. Let's say the Panthers, I end up on the Panthers and they waive me. And then, like you said earlier, the Raiders, if they want me, they can just pick me right up. So it's, I'm keen on it because of those quick transitions that you're going to have to make in life. Like when I was about to go to Canada this week, I got that call on Monday night at 6:30, and that next morning on Tuesday at 9 a.m., I was on a flight to Canada and if I would have went up there and won the job, I would have been there from this week until January. Right. So, that's a quick turnaround. So I understand that part of it. But I can see where, some people are getting frustrated or, they don't want the game that they love of college sports to make that
And you know,
U-turn.
it's very cool because the first time we talked about transfer portal and NIL, Jackson was on the program. This is a year ago. I don't know if you remember, Jackson. You were helping us through it. What's the transfer portal like? So how has it changed for you, Jackson, in the last year? What have you seen in the whole transfer portal NIL programs?
I think kind of like what Michael said. Like, I just feel like there's a bunch of people just like jumping ship. A lot of people are just like,
Turnover.
yeah, a lot of people just panic and they just go instead of, betting on themselves and trusting themselves. Um, I came to App State betting on myself. I came to App State knowing that I was gonna sit behind Michael for a year. I mean, shoot, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I mean, our whole coaching staff got fired, and now I have a brand new coaching staff. Like, there was like, and I could have easily jumped ship, panicked because I didn't know who they were gonna bring in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if Coach Clark or whoever it was last year was gonna be happy with me, and they brought in a different kicker.
Right.
Like, you just
Right.
never know. And I've always said, Clemson, for example, if you get an offer out of Clemson, I mean, out of high school, I would go there 100% because that's the one place in the country that I feel like truly develops kids nowadays. And you
That's
see
true.
that, like, as a freshman, they develop and they get better and they see the field early there. I mean, you could go to a program like a big time program like Kentucky or Alabama or Georgia or any SEC school, and each year they could have a different quarterback. They could have a different kicker. You just never know because they're always looking for somebody to replace you.
Mm-hmm.
They're always looking for somebody better because there's always going to be somebody better out there.
Whereas with Gabe, I could understand, Gabe, why you transferred. You were at UNC Pembroke. You're at a D2 school. You just want opportunity. You have a chance to go to D1 App State and be a long snapper. So to me, that makes sense. So it's like there's some transitions that make sense. There are other ones, like you said, Jackson, they just panic and they just leave.
Yeah.
They really should.
I mean, yeah, and any rule that, gets put into place in any sport it's gonna be abused a little bit, regardless of what it is. And I think the transfer portal has overall been beneficial. I think there maybe need to be like some more rules, like Michael said. And with NIL money, like just like some rules, but like ultimately I'm pro portal and pro NIL just for the sole fact that, like Michael said, like we devote our whole entire lives. Like
Mm-hmm.
I started school back doing online school and football back before my high school was even out of school for the summer.
But does there need to be a salary cap, Brad? I mean, you have University of Texas.
Yes.
University of Texas is going to spend $40 million this year on players. $40 million.
Yes, there
It's just like,
absolutely
it's
needs to be a
insane.
salary cap.
Yeah, and I think there's got to be some parameters, and to go back to what Michael said, touching on that, it's, if I give you X amount, $500,000 a year for 4 years, and no different than an NFL contract, and tie some bonuses too if we get to a bowl game, if we get to if we win so many games,
If you win the conference or something.
win a conference. Not every bit of NFL money for these players is guaranteed. When you talk about these big contracts, they're tied to a lot of, bonuses for getting to certain levels and certain wins. But, hey, if you leave before the 4 years is up, either that money's forfeited. Unfortunately, you're probably not going to get much back. A lot of these players end up, I think there needs to be some education around this stuff too. But, there's many different things that I think can happen with this to make it very balanced and also very equal to both sides instead of people, you look at Joey Aguilar, he went to UCLA and then now he's there for, I don't know, a couple of months, and then him and the Tennessee quarterback switched. I mean, it was kind of like, the first college trade,
You got Cooper Flagg made $28 million his only year at Duke. So he's at 19 years old, he's going to the NBA with $28 million in the bank. And you're just like what incentive does he have to be the best player in the NBA? I mean, I still think he's gonna be a good player, but I don't know.
Here's what
I'm saying in college.
Here's what's always kind of been crazy to me is I don't know if this number is correct, but I think the highest paid, if you will, kicker in college Division I sports maybe makes 100 grand. And it could be a little more than that, but I think 100 grand is probably about the number. Michael would maybe know a little better, but
I can tell you the number if you want to know the number.
How many coaches are out there banking on their kicker to win games and put points on the board? And they're some of the lowest paid NIL players.
And they decide the game often. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. What is the number, Michael?
I won't tell you the school or the name, but it was 178 last year.
Okay. It's not too far off, Brad.
Yeah.
That's not bad, but I guarantee you that's one of, the next one down was probably less than 100 grand,
Yeah,
so
right.
there's not a lot of those 178s going around.
Right.
You've got some wide receivers and quarterbacks making in the millions. And, to me, a specialist is it's all the positions on the field.
Yeah.
Have a position and a goal, and they should all be making something for doing what they do.
So we only have a couple of slides tonight. Before I go to that, Robbie, you got any questions for these guys? You got two kickers and you got a long snapper. I want to make sure you get some of your questions in.
Well, I'm still trying to get up to speed here, but what's the training like year round? Is it mostly just conditioning, and do you kick all year round?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kicking all year round.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then just like a weight program that does it go up and down, or you're constantly in the same?
I'm not in the same. I'm going to let them go first on that because I'm not really in their boat anymore, in their shoes on that. So I'll let them go and then I'll hit that.
Are you going to go, Jackson?
No, you got it.
We like right now we're lifting some pretty heavy weight. And we're running 4 days a week. We're running 5, we're lifting 4. We have on the field stuff, but right now, like our strength and conditioning staff and Coach Matt, man, like he's good at what he does, but like as of right now, like we're pushing weight like everybody else, like a skill guy, a combo guy. And I actually, our special teams coach, Jeff Crosby, he great guy, and we've talked to him about when we get into season, like we cannot be lifting as we're doing right now. And so obviously like the way that we train will be different in the fall than it is right now. But I think as of right now, I think we're just trying to put on some muscle mass and get a little faster. But we're just like every other skill position as of right now.
When does that lifting tail off? Around August? That you start lifting less? I
mean, during fall camp, we still lift a little bit. It's just not as intense. But I would say, about August. And then once the season starts, we only lift, I think, 3 days a week. So,
yeah. But
so Jackson, what about you?
I mean, you don't really get a break. To be honest, you lift, you run, you kick, or do whatever your field work is all summer long, all fall camp. Like, if I didn't live so close to home, I probably wouldn't be going back home till January after a bowl game. Like this is our life. This is what we devote our time and our effort to, lifting, running. For us necessarily, we're benching a lot and stuff like that, and squatting a lot and stuff like that. But like, obviously bench doesn't, like, I don't need a bench to be able to kick a field goal, but obviously that helps everybody else. And, but not only does it challenge you and push you physically, but mentally. Coach Matt is the best strength coach I've had yet. And he does a great job of, no matter what position you are, no matter what your depth is, like, he's going to push you. And it doesn't only like translate to football, but it translates into life. How many times are you going to get knocked down? How many times are you going to tell your body to just keep going? We get pushed to our limits every single day, whether it's, physically, mentally, or both. Not only in the weight room, on football. He's going to run us to death. We're going to feel like quitting. We're going to feel like giving up. But, you can do it. You can push your body a lot farther than you think you can if you just, his big thing is self-talk. If you go in and attack it with a good mindset, it's going to be a lot easier and go a lot smoother. When you feel like giving up, when you get tired, tell yourself, go attack this thing, go squat this. Um, but our lifting is great. We lift all year, and then after the season, we get about a week, 2 weeks off, and then we're back in it for spring ball. But when you're off, you got to lift on your own because you got to stay in condition. When you get back, it's going to be worse if you don't. So
Mhm.
I mean, the work never stops.
So when your dad says you're going to be running tomorrow morning at 4:30 a.m., is that the whole team or is that just the specialists? Or
That's the whole team. Yeah, we have a team run every single Friday morning. That I wake up at 4:30 for. We gotta be there around 5:30. I wake up early just get ready, get my mind right so I can attack it. Um, I always start my morning with a shower, so gotta stay consistent with what you do. So
so when you're running, do you sing those like military songs like Stripes?
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
pretty
care
much.
what I've been
I
told.
Yeah. At this point, we you just show up and you just run. You just do it. And this is something that we do every day. We're used to it. It's our schedule. Um,
Yeah.
That
but
kind of reminds me of a follow-up question I had. I was thinking about this, injuries. How do you guys deal with injuries? I know that availability is one of the most important things, pro or college. Just if you go down, you might give someone an opportunity to take your spot. And they always say, don't lose your job because of injury, but that's not a reality. Um, what injury would you try to work through versus tell the coaches about, or when would you try to like just kind of muscle through it?
I'll let Michael speak on this the most because he recently just went through it. But I will touch on something before he says. I would say any sort of pain, like go to the trainers. Go to the coaches. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured.
Yeah.
Hurting and then being injured. Um, you can go to the trainers about little things because you don't want them to develop into bigger things.
Hmm.
Now, if you tear an ACL, break a bone, whatever, obviously you're gonna have to sit out. But if you're
Yeah.
having hamstring problems, hip flexor
Yeah.
problems,
Soft
shoulder
tissue.
problems, be in that training room doing prehab, rehab, working with the trainers, getting you a schedule, eating right, get with nutrition. That's a big thing. Meg, our nutritionist, does a great job, you know, keeping us healthy because ultimately, that does a lot more than you think. Coach Matt, we do injury prevention stuff, but I'll let Michael speak on this more just because he recently went through it.
Yeah, so I kind of touched on it before you got on, Rob, but I fractured my tibia before week 5 this season. So I had to sit for 6 games, and Jackson, he did a great job. He filled in for me. And then I got healthy towards the end of the year, and I came back and I played in those final 2 games. But between week 4 and week 5, well, I guess week 4 and week 6, because week 5 got canceled due to the hurricane. So so I did it on Thursday. So I'm thinking, as soon as it happens, they take me in and they do X-rays, and they do the whole ligaments and all that stuff, and they're like, okay, it's none of that. Your X-rays are clean. Like, most likely it's just a really bad high ankle sprain. So that Friday and Saturday and Sunday, we had completely off because everything in Boone was shut down for the hurricane. So that whole weekend, I am literally in my bed 24/7, foot propped up, ice on it 24/7, and I'm just trying to move that ankle as much as possible.
Was it throbbing or was it?
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was horrible. Monday comes around and we get into like a game week. So I'm trying to play because Marshall is a home game for me. I mean, Marshall University is 45 minutes from my house. So that whole week, I am pushing myself. I mean, I am killing myself trying to play in this game because I wanted to play. So Monday, I'm running. Tuesday, I start kicking. Wednesday, I couldn't walk. Thursday, I'm like, okay, something's super wrong. So like I'm the type of like if I'm hurting, I get it. You know, this is football. Whether we get hit or not, you're gonna hurt. My high school coach when I was in high school, he told us, he said, all right, guys, this was the first practice. First practice of the entire football season, my junior year of high school. I'll never forget it. He tells the whole team, he's like, look, how you feel right now is the best you were going to feel until January. And he was not wrong. Because every single day that you go through this football, whether you kick the ball, you snap the ball, you punt the ball, whatever, you play quarterback, you're going to hurt. You just are. So being able to realize what's a bump and what's a bruise, you get over it. Now, when you start getting into the more intricate things of like, okay, it really hurts when I do this, or it really hurts when I do this, or hey, I just can't do this. That's when I really went to the trainer. Like when I figured out that I couldn't plant and walk on Wednesday after I tried to kick on Tuesday on that game week, I was like, look, this is really bad. Like we need to reevaluate this. So I went and got an MRI and came back that I had a fractured tibia. So for that whole week, I'm literally sprinting and doing jogging and cutting and trying to kick on a fractured tibia, and I'm just trying to fight through the pain.
How did it heal in 5 weeks? That doesn't seem possible, right?
Yeah, it was a hairline fracture.
Oh, okay.
So I did 2 weeks in a hard cast, 2 weeks in a boot, and then 2 weeks of rehab. So I did 6 weeks.
Okay.
Don't ask me how.
And Jackson, you're not rooting for him to be hurt, right? I mean, I know you want to play, but
Absolutely not. That was
yeah.
like, I'm telling you, getting thrown into the fire like that was so awful. I hated it because like I was, I was I was not prepared like whatsoever. Like, me and Gabe and my dad were talking about this the other day. Is like, like we're traveling and stuff like that. Like traveling to away games as a backup, somebody, especially like a specialist, where you're not gonna play.
Right.
Me and Gabe would, stay up watching TikToks, whatever, and stuff like that. And like just getting thrown in the fire, not being ready physically or mentally, or physically I was ready. Mentally, absolutely not. I hadn't played in a game in a whole year, just we do this thing called specialist dinner or specs dinner every Thursday before games.
Mm-hmm.
We were all at this one burger place, and Michael and Johnstone had stayed back for some reason. I
Me
forget.
and Maynard.
Yeah, Connor Maynard. They had stayed back for some reason. To like they were like, I don't even know what they're doing. They're asking a question or they were in the booth or something. And I got a call from Connor, and he's like, "Yo, you ready for this weekend?" And because at this point we still thought we were playing, and I was like, I mean, like, yeah, bro. Because like me and Connor were very close. We rode to the games together because we lived next to each other. And I was like, yeah, man, like, you picking me up? And he's like, nah, like, you're playing this weekend. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, uh, Michael's literally on the floor right now, like, basically in tears, like, and screaming in pain. And I was like, haha, like, good one, all this stuff. And
Yeah,
then
right.
Michael comes into the burger place an hour later on crutches and in a boot, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" So I mean, Michael talked about a bunch of quick turnarounds. I mean, playing at such a high level, there's quick turnarounds all the time. Like I never like you never think a kicker gets hurt, and it was such a terrible like situation. And it just got thrown on me, and I guess I was more ready than I thought I was, but.
And you don't remember it, do you? You don't remember running out there. You said it's like it was a blur,
I mean,
right?
just getting thrown in the fire. I mean, like I said earlier, like Michael told me, like I had to grow up really fast. You know, I thought I was growing, I thought I was ready, but like when I got that call, when I saw that, like, man, I'm playing, like a whole different thing changed. And then not
Mhm.
only that, Marshall week, because originally we didn't know about Michael's fracture or anything, so I thought I was just gonna have to play Marshall, and then it was cool. Michael would be back. And I got a call the Thursday before the Marshall game from Johnstone, our snapper, and he was like, "Man, I don't know if Michael's told you yet or not, but he actually fractured his tibia, so he's gonna be out for 6 weeks. And I was like, oh my goodness, like it's getting real. So, you never wish an injury upon your worst enemy, and it was a blessing and a curse for both me and Michael. Um, and me and Michael got closer through that whole entire process. Um, God has a plan for everything. Um, whether for that was for me to play or Michael to get injured, and it sucks that Michael got injured, but you know, he didn't, he didn't take pity on anybody, didn't take pity on me. He sat right there with his injury on the sidelines at the Marshall game that next week and sat there and taught me through the whole game. So, you know, you couldn't ask for any better friendship from our whole entire group. So it was awesome.
Fantastic. That's great. All right. Well, let's take a moment to do a shout out to our sponsor for tonight, and that's Academy Sports. We're really happy to have them back on the program. They've sponsored us before, and we really love going to Academy. We get absolutely everything there. I got my last set of pickleball shoes there, and get a lot of shorts and T-shirts and workout gear and all kinds of really cool stuff. It's an amazing showroom. It's almost like going into a Walmart, but it's even better with all the sports equipment. So, Robbie, what do you love about Academy Sports?
Basically, I love going there for all the boys' equipment. They're outgrowing everything. Seems like every season we need new everything. They have great prices, great selection. I'm in the market for a sliding glove. That's the next purchase. But we all just went out and bought new shoes. Everyone got a new pair of shoes, and we are very big fans of Academy Sports. It's nearby. They have great service, great prices, the whole thing. The selections, everything's affordable. So when it's not so painful when we have to keep putting new equipment on the Twins.
What's amazing is they've got football and basketball and baseball and pickleball, and they even had scuba diving equipment and golf, and they just have
Yeah.
every possible sport under the sun. So definitely go check out academy.com when you get a chance, or you can actually order from their app, from the App Store, or any of the applications you can download on your phone. And go check it out, and or visit one of your local stores today. And we'll see you next time.
See.
Well, I have a couple of slides I want to go through with you guys. So first slide is this one. I'm really curious what you guys think of this. So in 2024 college football season, approximately almost 40% of the FBS games were decided by one score. So essentially you're talking about one possession games in the NCAA. So is this something you guys coaches talk about? Is it something you guys realize, like how important special teams is these days?
You definitely talk about it. That's for sure. I remember when I was at App, Coach Clark was really big on statistics and the book. So like, if it was fourth in this situation, do we think we have the chance? Do we have the momentum in the game? Like, so yes, you absolutely. Situational football is non-existent in high school athletics. Period.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get to college and you're around it more, and situational football is highly harped upon.
Okay.
So
Because
that,
you have all these one score games. You have kickers that are more reliable.
but I think, yeah.
They're hitting from further distances. Their percentages are going up, right?
Well, I think you just read the statistic and it tells you exactly how we feel about it.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
and going along with that, we chart every single kick that we take in practice. So for me, as a right-footed kicker, the left hash is a little bit easier than the right hash.
Mhm.
So our coaches knew, our quarterbacks knew actually. One of our like third string quarterbacks came to me one day. He's like, "You're 98.5% from the left hash," and I was like, "Bro, what? How'd you know that?"
Wait, how did you know that?
I mean, they talk about it in their meetings. Like quarterbacks
Oh,
talk
wow.
about like if they get down to a scenario, where on the field are they gonna have to try to get the ball to put me in the best situation to succeed? So when I was
So
playing, every single one of the quarterbacks knew my percentage from every part of the field
So
between.
Jackson, this is something I was going to ask you at the end of the program, but you're raising it now, and that is, why is that left hash easier than the right hash? Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just all a mental thing, to be honest. Um, I mean, as a right-footed kicker, your miss tends to be right a little bit. So, I mean, as a right-footed kicker, when you're on the left hash, the angle is a little bit bigger. Like I don't know how to explain it unless I like took you out onto a field. But when you're from the left
Okay.
hash, it like the uprights are like bigger as a right-footed kicker because you're kick like I don't know how to explain it. But if you go
It just looks bigger. It looks like a
yeah,
bigger
and like
target.
your miss
Okay.
is gonna be right, and if you're from the left hash, like I don't know, you just have more room for error on the left hash, I would
I
say.
got it.
But if
I
you're on
got
the
it.
right, the right
You
hash,
can be more aggressive on the left hash compared to the right hash.
correct.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Correct. Because like your natural power ball is going to go a little bit left if you really get a hold of it. So it can kind of
Mhm.
like, curve in. You can kind of play it, the draw a little bit more.
Okay.
You have a lot more room for error too. On the right hash, less room for error. And then like the angle is just like, it's just tighter. Like you just have a lot less room for error. And ultimately it's all mental because every kick on the field is a straight kick, regardless of
Mhm.
where you're at. But all my misses this year came from the right hash. And so that's something that I've worked on a bunch. And but like I said, all the quarterbacks, all the position groups, like they talk about, where's the best place on the field that we can succeed. And that's a numbers game as well.
Why do you think the college hash is so much further apart than the NFL hash? And why hasn't college gone to the more NFL,
Um,
I guess?
I don't know because even high school is even farther than college. Um,
Mm.
I just
It's just
think,
I know the answer to this, but you can go ahead.
I mean, if you know the answer, go ahead and say it.
It's because the game is so much faster the higher that you go when you play. So
Mhm.
it allows everybody to be, if you think about it, in the NFL, the hashes are so tight, but everybody's so quick that they can be compact and expand quicker than ever.
Mhm.
But if I'm already lined up wide at the college level, it just evens the playing field for everybody. It's all about evening out the playing field.
Mhm.
That's every rule in every sport that you play. It's just evening out the playing field for both teams. And
Mhm.
that's just one of the little intricacies that every level of football changes. And then all it is doing is trying to make it even for everybody.
Okay, makes sense.
Gabe,
And then
does the snap change at all on the hashes, Gabe?
I mean, to be honest, at this point, no. It's really just again muscle memory. Like even if I over rotate the ball a smidge, the laces are going to be off. So it's really just me adjusting my body to where Jackson and the holder want to be, and then it's just me just ripping it back to how I normally do. But I mean, I really have never had a problem between the left and right hash and the middle. So it doesn't really affect me specifically. I think it's just more of the kicker and the holder too, because
so this
it's different too because I'm left-handed. So
okay,
how the ball
gotcha.
ends. It's harder for the holder to put down compared to a right-handed snapper.
So this quote about accuracy and consistency of long snappers, do you guys have similar statistics to what Jackson and Michael are talking about? Like 98% of my snaps go here and 2% are failures, or
I mean, honestly, I think it's just different with being a snapper. But I also will say this past spring, I was the only guy on roster. And for a punt, like I have to chart my snaps now with Coach Crosby. Like he makes me come in every day after practice and chart my snaps. And
okay.
it's
Balls and strikes, baby.
I mean every single day, Coach Crosby would be like, "You gonna chart? You gonna chart?" So I think for me, it's if I get tired, I'll start missing.
Okay.
And I think that really applies to a lot of people. But I'm taking field goal and punt snaps, so it's like I'm already tired from punt, but I got to go to field goal and perform. So I think for me, like my first couple of balls that I throw, they're strikes, and then like that sixth or fifth ball, it's gonna be a miss because I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Does he call you? Does he call you an upside down quarterback like Michael does?
No.
So, Gabe,
All
talk
the
about
worst.
there is a distinct difference in snapping to a punter versus snapping to a holder for a field
Oh,
goal.
100%.
So, how do how do you manage that change game time?
I mean, to be honest, the way I hold my football whenever I punt is way different than the way I hold the football when I do a PAT field goal. With the punt snaps, I'm using my full, my lower body and my upper body. And then when I go snap a field goal PAT, like I lock my legs out, I'm just using my hands. But at the end of the day too, like even in the spring, I had to find a happy medium because, Jackson can confirm this, but man, I was just throwing piss missiles on field goal and it was missing off time. And so now I had to figure out, hey, like what do I need to do to make the op time smoother? And, after a week of trying to figure it out, it was literally just me removing my lower body and just using my hands. So
you can snap it too hard, literally.
Yeah. So and if I snap it too hard on a field goal, I'll, put laces back or laces to the side, and I won't put laces straight out so Jackson can just kick straight leather.
So this was incredible. If you look at the NFL, 80% of the games are decided by one score or less. So I guess the importance, Michael, of a kicker in the NFL would be even higher, I would think.
Oh, absolutely.
Almost every game is so close.
Well, you have to think, I mean, everybody in the NFL is 85% or better on field goal tries per season. And then, that's where you see the turnover rate is in the guys that aren't guaranteed money and they were under that 85 to 90% mark.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you see the turnover at the kicker spot. I don't like if you take a kicker who goes 75%, but he's guaranteed, X amount of dollars or X amount of millions of dollars the next season, then somebody may keep that guy on their roster because that money's guaranteed. They can't get out of that contract. But you have a young buck like me who comes in as a rookie and, I go 75% at league minimum. They're going to be like, okay, either A, we see his potential and we can keep him on for another year, or B, we can try to go and we can try to get another guy that, has been around the block, or maybe you're a veteran and I want to trade a few draft picks for. And that's where that's where the business side comes in and you see that turnover rate, just like in sales.
Right. Well, don't you think the kicker should be the number one paid guy on the roster? I mean, they're the guys who decide.
I don't want to be biased, but no, I would still say no.
Okay. All right.
Especially now being around it for so long. I mean, I understand that our job is important, but I don't think that we should be the highest paid players. That would be wild.
So 1 year ago, Jackson, we had Jeff Reed on the program. He said that Tucker was the best kicker in the NFL, and then he had a disastrous season.
Yeah.
To the point where he got released by the Ravens. And if you look at the overall kicking last year, it was down in every category, especially in the 40 to 49 yarders. So what is your guys' theory about this? Why is kicking getting worse in the NFL? Why are they shanking more balls?
Is it getting worse, or was it just a bad year?
I think everybody just had nobody's perfect. Everybody's human, There could be other things going on, You never know what's going on in somebody's life beyond football. There's a lot of things that
I could understand that if it was just Tucker, but it seemed to be
it was a lot of kickers.
Like it was most of the kickers.
It was overall a rough year.
It was a rough year.
Because if you really look at the statistics over the last 10 years, it is exponentially, I mean, it's literally miles and miles and miles greater than what it was. I mean, now you have guys like Brandon Aubrey, Justin Tucker, Chris Boswell.
But here's your list right here, Michael. This is how they're ranked right now. You got Bates at number 1, Dicker, Aubrey, McLaughlin, Harrison Butker, Jake Elliott, etc.
But that's my point is you have all of these guys that are ripping 58, 60, 62, 66, 65.
Aubrey hit a
65. It's like you see all of these numbers. Kicking is getting better and better and better. I can tell you this, when I first got into this, if you could make a 50-yard field goal, you were going to go play college Division I. But now if you can't hit from 60, we have issues.
Yeah. I mean, just going seeing even freshmen like nowadays. Like when I was a freshman, there was no way I was kicking as good as the freshmen are now. And it's like crazy. Like these freshmen now, like freshmen in high school, are kicking like 60 yarders. And like we hosted the special teams camp the other day here at App State, and some of these high school kids are smoking the ball. And like, like Michael said, like back then, if you could hit a 50-yard field goal, like you were the stuff. Now you hit a 50.
If you can't hit from 60 now, you're not going to get looked at.
Yeah.
But answer this question for me, because when you look at the statistical data and you see 50 plus yarders going, the percentages are going up, but from 49
Yeah.
in
And extra points.
and extra
Yeah,
points.
so here's
they're
my
missing.
thing. This is my thing about the extra point is like I'm not so sure that it should stay at the 10-yard line in college.
Yeah, because it's a huge jump from college to NFL.
You know, it's
'Cause
interesting
now-
you say that, because last time we had Jackson on a year ago, he was saying that sometimes the shorter kicks are harder than the longer kicks.
Oh, they absolutely are, just because
Especially
of the
when you're
angle.
especially you have the wide angle, the wide hash.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
because of the angle, if I'm on the hash and I'm close to the uprights, it's you have to hit the ball true. I will say that. Now, it's a gimme. It is, in retrospect. Anything 40 and in, it's a gimme.
Yeah.
It has to be good. You should be in college 40 and in, you got to be 100% your freshman to junior year. Now, when you get into your senior year, that number needs to go to about 48. 48 and in, you need to be 100%. And that's just the game that we play now, especially to have an opportunity at the next level.
Do you guys, Jackson and Michael, have a favorite on this list? Like, who do you guys want to model yourself after? Or you
I've
don't?
always modeled myself after Boswell, just because I'm very tall and long and lean, just like him, and
Okay.
I have a lot of leg speed. So I've always mimicked my game after Boswell.
Boswell. Okay.
I don't really kick like anybody, and like my kicking's like I don't really model my game after anybody because each kicker is so like specific with what works for them.
Mhm.
But I've always loved Harrison Bucker. He's always been my
Mhm.
guy.
Me too. I love him too.
And Aubrey.
Yeah, and Aubrey. Harrison Bucker was drafted by the Panthers, Brad, and I don't know why we didn't get him, but so
I got a question. Does anybody think it's possible that the training with the change of the kickoff rule might be slightly affecting accuracy? Is that
Are you
it
talking? Are you
possible?
specifically talking about college or NFL
No,
here?
I'm talking about NFL.
Okay.
No.
I
Like
think
they're putting more emphasis on chipping the ball and having it land in the zone, and so it's kind of affecting maybe.
Yeah, it's called the
Golf
dirty ball.
Right. Is that maybe affecting accuracy?
No, absolutely not. I would just say
Oh.
that it's more on leg talent now. Now you take it from, okay, do I want a guy who weighs 215 and he can hit from 75 and he can hit every kickoff out of the back of the end zone? Or do I want a guy who's going to be 100% inside of 55 and he can place the ball exactly where I want him to place it every single time?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's where you're going to see a transition. You're not going to see these guys that can go out there. You're going to see the guys that can go out there and rip the field goals, because no matter if you can have a guy that can hit from 65, it is an advantage. I mean, it absolutely is. But at the end of the day, like you're going to see a lot of teams that will not kick touchbacks this season. I would say out of the 32 teams, there's going to be 25 to 27 teams that do not kick touchbacks.
because of the new rules, or because
because of the new rules. Because if I land the ball in the end zone, they get the ball at the 30 or the 35 now.
35 now, yeah.
Yeah,
35.
they get the ball at the 35. If I hit it, but here's the other thing, and this is the issue now, is if I hit a kickoff and I don't land it in the landing zone and I hit it before the 20-yard line,
let's say I land the ball on the 22 or the 23-yard line. It's only a 5-yard penalty, so they get it at the 40. Where if I kick a touchback, they're already getting it at the 35.
Mhm.
But if I can hit it inside the landing zone and then it rolls through the end zone for a touchback, but it lands in the landing zone, now the other team gets the ball at the 20.
Mm-hmm.
So how many guys do you think are going to try to hit a knuckleball that's going to land inside the 10 and take a weird bounce and the returner's just going to let it go?
It's a good point. Really good point.
That's what they're going to try and do.
They're absolutely going to do that. Because I'm going to tell you this. We were talking about situational football earlier. It's big in college, but 10 yards, 15 yards of field position in the NFL is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the new special teams rules in the NFL you were talking about. Touchbacks will be moved to the 35-yard line. Yeah, it's a really good point. Any changes in the NCAA this year you guys are looking at, Jackson and Gabe? Any new things that might change your strategy?
They don't really. You guys don't really learn about that until they bring in the Sunbelt guys at the end of fall camp.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I mean, everything's the same.
Yeah.
Are there any restrictions in college on onside kick?
Yes.
Can't hit it straight into the ground first.
Do you have to be losing?
No, nothing like that. It's like, okay, you have to have 6 on this side and 4 on this side. I can't beat the ball into the ground and have it be a one hop big hit. It's got to be end over end and bounce several times and then have a big skip. The other one that we got in trouble in 2022, I believe, against UNC when we had that shootout. We lost 64-62 in double
That's
overtime.
What an
Oh.
unbelievable game. I watched that game.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
that was wild.
So
That's
I hit both of the onsides at the end of the game, and we got in
Right.
trouble because we actually made contact with another one of their players. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think it's because we made contact with one of their players before the ball actually went 10 yards.
Oh,
So there are
Okay.
little intricacies to those.
Well, what
So
if they
it's-
run inside of 10 and hit you guys?
Technically, they're not allowed to do that either.
Oh, because the pros you can.
Yeah, so technically they're not allowed to do that either.
Oh.
But the
That 10
NFL,
yards is dead space.
yeah, the NFL just changed that rule though. They just changed that rule, and if you can hit it whenever you want, you don't have to be losing now,
yeah.
Right.
That's
and
Yeah,
it
they
can
undid
come
that.
it can come at any point in the game now.
Yeah, it used to be
It's just,
Yeah, it's right here. You can see
fourth
it.
quarter.
Yeah,
Last year,
it
was
just
fourth
has to be
quarter only.
it just has to be declared now.
No, it has to be any point of the game if they're trailing. They do have to be trailing still, but
They have
can
to be
do it
trailing, but it can
Okay.
be any time during the game, and it has to be announced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Gabe, on punts it says no offensive player can be in direct line of the snap to the punter. Is that the same?
Yeah, no, everything's the same for that.
Okay.
But I mean, there's not. I mean, if they're gonna change it, yeah, they're not gonna let us know until August, kind of during fall camp when we kind of meet with the refs and stuff like that. So,
Okay. Very
yeah.
good. So what do you
Gabe,
guys?
do you
what do you guys
train
think-
as a center also?
No. So I'm specifically just a long snapper.
Gotcha. I didn't know if you were like the backup center.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, we just kind of keep the same because
Different. Yeah.
and centers are now like, man, centers are so big now. I mean, I'm 6 foot, like 215, and our average center on our roster right now is like 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds. So it's like,
Wow.
you know, you gotta be pretty big to be on the offensive
You're
line.
a lot smaller than those guys are. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what do you guys think of these specialist camps? Do you guys participate in these? Are you helping to instruct them? Have you been to them as a player? Like, what do you think of these camps?
It's really for it's for high school kids.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, so those camps that every college holds, it's for high school kids to come in and showcase what they have for a day. Now, am I a firm believer that high school kids get offers based off of specialist camps? No.
No. Okay. that they can improve and they can get noticed. Is that what
But
you're
you
saying?
can, yeah, as a young kid, I think it would be like, as a senior in high school, you really need to understand who's offering and when they are offering. Freshman to sophomore year, that's kind of, or freshman to junior year in high school, that's kind of your time to go to those camps to get your name out there, especially if the schools are actually offering scholarships. Because if they're not offering scholarships, then you're wasting your time and your money.
Yeah. That's
Um,
right.
but that's what it's really for. Now we as players, we work those camps. So we
That's what I was
come in
thinking.
and
That's what I was
we
thinking.
kind of explain our stories, kind of like we are now, just in a very, very, very shortened version. And you kind of just show them what you do as a player and just give them kind of pointers
So then what
almost.
would be a camp you could go to as a college player? Let's say you're a D2, or let's say you're a freshman or something, and you're trying to get better. Is there any camp you can go to in the summer, or you're within your program?
Yeah, you can go to your specialist coach.
Okay.
There's numerous specialist coaches across the country that are freelance pretty much. They're their own private entities. And, like I said earlier on the call, me, Gabe, and Jackson, we all see the same guy. So, in our off seasons, I know because I was there, these guys, they get off from their last final day until May 23rd. So whether that be May 10th, May 12th, May 3rd, May 4th, whatever it is, you get off from that last final day until May 23rd or May 27th. And they have to report back. So during that 3-week period, for me, every year, I would take 2 weeks off and I would golf
Okay.
every single day almost.
Yep.
And then that final week, I would either go up to Buffalo, New York, and I would train with my guy, or I would train on my own at home and just get
Mhm.
back into the swing of things until I can get a long weekend like Memorial Day or July 4th week during the summer when I get that off. And then that's when I would make more of a business trip and go and see him for a full period of time and get multiple work sessions in.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Let's talk about the schedule, guys, as we wrap up the program tonight. Of course, Charlotte is the game. Brad, we want to join you to come to that game. It's at Bank of America Stadium. We want to come see you App State guys play against UNC Charlotte. But when I look at this schedule, Brad, it's pretty tough. I mean, Southern Miss is no slouch. You got Boise State on there, Oregon State.
Wow.
Coastal Carolina's not a slouch. Old Dominion's always a tough out.
Madison.
Madison's really good. Marshall. So what do you guys think of this schedule? Just curious.
12-0, baby.
12-0.
12-0?
Yeah.
And with our new coaching and our new team, we have the potential. I mean, the ceiling's 12-0. I mean,
You think you can run the table?
You can't.
Our
You
goal is to
can't.
make the college football playoffs as the G5.
And Boise doesn't have Ashton Genty anymore, so that helps.
And also like I'm gonna add something too. Like they have us projected going 7th in the Sun Belt. That is not gonna happen.
That's not going to happen. Yeah, I agree.
And
with that.
I'm telling you, like the guys that we have brought in and the guys that we had to let go, like Coach Loggins made a smart decision by bringing these specific guys in. And I know for a fact that we're going to win ball games with the guys that we have in this room. And I also know for a fact that we're not going to go 7th in the Sun Belt.
That's kind of nice. You can sneak up on people.
If you guys
I like it. I like it. They don't.
Yeah.
They're not
Actually,
it's not disrespect. It's under the radar.
If you guys,
I don't know
guys
where you saw that, Gabe, because I was told that we are projected to win it.
I was talking that I heard that we were 7th.
So
if you guys
were down on King Street, and someone asked Jackson, well, what do you think about this season? And without hesitation, that there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't win the Sun Belt. And so, I think there's multiple facets that are involved, but obviously the new coaching staff, what they've brought to the program, from recruits, from to the weight room, to the workouts, to the nutrition, to everything that they've brought to the program to better these kids as players. And
so let's take 2 minutes then, Brad, and just talk about these coaches, because a lot of people don't know who they are.
Where'd they come from?
Yeah, tell us about these coaches.
So the head coach came from some South Carolina. Coach Loggins did. Special teams coach, Coach Crosby came from Texas. Jackson, you can go down the line. That's I'm as a specialist dad. That's really all I need to know is Crosby.
Coach Clyde, he was the quarterback coach for Peyton Manning, Tom Brady,
Oh, wow.
Jameis Winston, Andrew Luck. He was the offensive coordinator for Marvin Harrison. You know, all those guys. He's right there on the top right.
Okay, I see him. Yeah.
He's not on here, but our defensive coordinator, DJ Smith, he played here at App State. He came from Missouri.
Okay.
Coach Shaq, Coach Shakir, he was our edges coach. He was here previously. I don't know where he came from, but he's back here. Coach Glitch, D-line coach, he was with the New England Patriots for a little bit, I believe.
So Jackson, without giving away any secrets, is Crosby, is he a little bit of a gambler? Is he a riverboat Ron? Is he going to let you go for the 60-yarder? Is he gonna go for a onside kick at a weird time? Like
You're gonna have to see.
We'll have to see.
All of
Okay.
the above.
Good answer. Good answer.
I think there is too. There's a an open door policy with these coaches too. And which from a player's perspective, really helps with the morale there, and the team in the locker room. So,
right.
I think they're bringing a lot more to the program than just a top level coach.
Right.
They're really putting it together from the top down.
I hope you guys go 12-0. I really do. And if you go 10-2 and win your bowl game, that's still a pretty good year. It's pretty special.
Sure.
So
it's going to start with a win on Friday, August 29th.
I can't wait. We were just there for the Metallica concert, and we're going to get to see App State play in the same place. So that's pretty cool. So, guys, tell us where they can find you. Jackson, you're there on the left. We got Gabe in the middle, Michael on the right. I got your X accounts, but where else can they find you guys?
My Instagram is JacksonMoore504. And that's pretty much the only social medias I use. I'm a young kid, so I don't really use Facebook or anything like that.
Was that really the excited look on your face you had there, Jackson?
Yeah, that was during media day. They're like having us do some fun stuff, and
okay, I like it. So, Gabe, what about you?
I mean, I'm on all social media. I mean, I don't really know all of them, but I know my Instagram is Gabe.Simpkins4. But honestly, I really couldn't tell you my other handle names except for Twitter and Instagram. But if you just look up my name, you'll probably find me. But yeah,
all right, that's great. That's awesome. And Michael?
I'm on Instagram, and that's Michael.Hughes with a Z.
Okay, fantastic. And Michael, we're still hoping you get to the Raiders or the Panthers. So we'll be watching.
I appreciate that.
Or the Dolphins.
Or the Dolphins. Yeah, Rob's a Dolphin fan.
I appreciate that.
All right, so as we sign off, let's go around the table. Jackson, what's your goal for this year? You must have some kind of personal goals.
yes, sir. My goal is to ultimately, first of all, get on the field. Be the guy this year to bring in a great kicker out of high school. We have two other great kickers here as well. So just get on the field and be the guy. If Lord willing, if that's in his plans for me, I would like to make some sort of all conference, whether it's first, second, or third, or even honorable mention. I feel like I have the abilities to do it. Michael texted me the other day. He's like, "Man, this is your year. You got to want and go get it." And just trust myself, trust my swing, and just go out and rip it. So, those are two goals of mine. Get on the field first of all. That's the biggest goal, main goal, and then second of all, be productive on the field. Do what I can for the team. Whatever I'm doing, whether I'm kicking onside kicks, whether I'm kicking field goals, kickoffs, whatever they want me to do, just try to be as successful as I can for the team.
Well, keep doing your nutrition, keep lifting, doing what the coaches tell you to do, get good sleep. And we're really excited to see you play on August 29th. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. Thank
What about you, Gabe? What's your goals for this year?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what Jackson said, but just to be the guy. Crosby's bringing in a really good, solid high school long snapper from Cali. He's really solid guy, but at the end of the day, it's just me going out there and ripping it for the team, doing everything I need to do and go above and beyond and give 110%. Because at the end of the day, like, coaches see effort and coaches see hard work. But obviously I want to be the guy that Coach Loggins and Coach Crosby trust, and Lord willing, I could have a good year and be successful and get a first, second, third honorable mention guy. So just trying to be a good teammate and just be a leader on and off the field. Just make right decisions. So.
Do you like the situation you have where you're the only long snapper on the roster, or do you like the situation Jackson where he's got competition?
I mean, the new kid doesn't come until at the end of June, so I still got a couple weeks left, just by myself. But honestly, like, I feel like I thrive better, with competition, and I think that's a good trait to have. Yep. And I think everyone needs competition, because if you're complacent, and that's a bad thing. You don't want to just be stuck in one place and not want to get better. But I'm excited for him to get here, so him and I can compete for this job. So I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I hope you both get what you guys want this year. What about you, Michael?
A goal for me is just keep my head down and just keep taking it day by day. This is a really, really hard business to get into. But once your foot's in the door, you have to make the most of it. So I think for me, one of my goals is just making the most of every opportunity that I get, Lord willing, and just keep taking it day by day and working hard.
We want you to catch on with somebody. We really do.
I appreciate it.
Justin Tucker got released, so Ravens need a kicker.
Yeah, they did draft Tyler Loop, but we'll see.
That's awesome. Well, Brad, thank you so much for joining us and putting this great program together. The three of you guys are rock stars. We're so glad you joined the program, and you're going to be friends of the Sports Guyz for a long time, and we're going to be watching your careers and see how they progress. Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Tom, Rob, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Thanks, Brad.
It was the best. And I don't relish you guys running at 4:30 in the morning, but enjoy it.
Always.
See you guys on the Sports Guyz next time. Have a good one.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh.
Love it.